Welcome to Downtown Sports. My name is Downtown Stephen Brown, and in today's video, Mikko Lehtonen. That's right, we're going to talk about it. I am wildly unprepared for this video. Never even knew that this guy even existed before this morning when I got the notification. The notification actually woke me up, and I don't know how I even have this much energy because I literally ran down the stairs and set up the light and the camera and the computer, and we're going to research this on the go. It's actually kind of interesting because this whole COVID-19 or coronavirus thing kind of put a damper on the European free agent market this offseason because a lot of them actually said, no, you know what, we're going to hold off from coming over to North America this season. We'll come over again next season. And that happened with a couple of the top guys, but not this guy who was said to be the top European defenseman available on the market. So this is the first bit of information that I've stumbled across while reading it. It is an article from Luke Fox, Jukebox. I will link it down in the description if you want to read it in its entirety here. But he's basically saying that the Devils, Kings, and Canadians were long in the market for a play-driving left-shot defenseman. Are but 3 teams said to have interest in the NHL-ready import whose stock and confidence have soared since that World Championship gold last May. World Championship gold last May. I'm interested. Let's check that out. Alright, so I'm on his Elite Prospects page right now, and under the 18-19 season under Finland A, the World Championships, this guy had 7 points in 10 games en route to Finland winning the gold that year. Kind of stumped as to why this guy was never drafted. I mean, he had an okay junior career in Finland, but I guess some players just go different paths, right? When he first came over to the Liga and played his first full season there, I mean, 22 points in 60 games, 25 points in 43 games, 12 goals, 6 goals, 29 points in 55 games, another 12 goals, 24 points in 52 games in the SHL, 5 goals, and then exploded in the KHL this season, 49 points, 17 goals, and led that team in scoring as a defenseman. And if that's not enough, he had 4 points in 6 playoff games in the KHL this year, helping Jokerit get past the first round, which hopefully he could do the same with the Maple Leafs this upcoming season. And then the KHL season was put to a stop, his contract was terminated, and now he's a Maple Leaf. Signed him to a 1-year entry-level contract for 2021, had 49 points in 60 games, like we already said, at 26, one of the top D-men in the KHL, and was named the league's top D of the month in November, December, January, played in the 20 All-Star game, but he shoots left. Mike Babcock's sitting at home reading this press release on Twitter on his one burner account that he admitted to having, and he's just like, oh, this guy shoots left, just gonna be as good as Jake Muzzin. What do they need him for? That's my Mike Babcock impression, folks. It's not getting any better because I'm not working on it because they fired him. The last time the Leafs got a top available KHL defenseman, it was Nikita Zaitsev, and he wasn't really that bad in the first season. He received a lot of power play time here in Toronto, but I wouldn't have minded Nikita Zaitsev even now playing on the Leafs' bottom pairing in limited minutes. It was the contract that killed him. But this guy, Mikko Lehtonen, looks a lot better than Nikita Zaitsev just by the fact that when you look at the team that Zaitsev played on before coming over to Toronto, he played on CSKA Moscow, one of the bigger teams in the KHL, and you're looking at the names here. I mean, Alexander Radulov, there was many other players ahead of Nikita Zaitsev on this team that were much better than him. Mikko Lehtonen legit just straight up led his entire team in scoring. Wait, I've discovered a relic here. If any of you remember who Petri Kontiola is and what he was going to be for the Toronto Maple Leafs supposedly a couple of years ago, Godspeed. But now I guess that we're in the second half of this video, how is Mikko Lehtonen going to be fitting in on this team next season? Because one of the main reasons why the Maple Leafs have been so successful in the European free agent market is that they've guaranteed these guys playing times when they've approached them and when they've signed them. Guys like Nikita Zaitsev, Igor Osaganov, Par Lindholm, Ilya Mikheyev, they are currently doing it with Alexander Barabanov. So to think that a guy like Mikko Lehtonen is going to leave his team in Jokerit and come to the Toronto Maple Leafs to not play in the NHL full-time next season is a mistake. He's playing on the Toronto Maple Leafs next season. And I've been saying it all along. These are the 6 guys that were currently set to make the Maple Leafs next season and be on their blue line. These are the 6 best guys that they had, and now they went out and signed a guy like Mikko Lehtonen. And if we add him to the equation here, that's great. That's more depth. It's another guy on the left side, but he plays the power play. He's an offensive defenseman. That doesn't solve your problem on the penalty kill. And I don't necessarily think that Timothy Liljegren makes the team out of camp and is penciled in on the roster full-time to start the season at least. So that leaves the right side a little bit shallow here. And that's why I think that the Maple Leafs should go out there and get a guy like Dylan DeMello to shore up the penalty kill, because none of these other guys can do it. Jake Muzzin can do it. Justin Holl can do it. Travis Dermott cannot do it. He has not played a special team while he's been here in Toronto so far, and he hasn't really developed all too much since his rookie year. And unless he shifts over and just plays the right side, which is something that they tried doing with him for a couple of games last season, but I don't know, it's looking more and more like Travis Dermott is being pushed out of Toronto. I would really like to see the Leafs retain his services and for him to start the season with the team. And if Kyle Dubas can somehow find that extra $400K somewhere here in this lineup to make this possible so that they could still have Travis Dermott on the team, because I don't think that the futures assets that you get for Travis Dermott are all worthwhile. I think that having Travis Dermott as a player on the Toronto Maple Leafs is more valuable than just having a second round pick or having a second and a third, whatever you get for him, especially for the price tag that he's going to be commanding this offseason. I think that you could probably get him for even cheaper than that $1.8 million. Probably, that's on a 2-year deal. On a 1-year deal, he could come a lot cheaper. I'm not a whole fan of just sacrificing depth for the sake of it because it's not an ideal situation with the minutes. I'd rather have that unideal situation with the minutes and go into the season with these extra players and let them sort it out themselves than not have the depth to begin with. But all I know is that if the Maple Leafs don't go out and get a guy like Dylan DeMello or Justin Braun, somebody's got to flip over to the right side here. Could we finally be seeing the Jake Muzzin and Morgan Rielly pairing that we were promised, or that was hypothesized about when Jake Muzzin was first traded here? I mean, Morgan Rielly's played on the right side before. I don't mind this all too much, but at the same time, I think you're putting way too much stock in Mikko Lehtonen. I think that he's going to be a contributor at the NHL level. But I would not count on him to be a top 4 defenseman next season. If he is going to be that player, then great, you won't have me complaining about it. But all I'm saying is that the Maple Leafs shouldn't bet on it. So I still would go out there and get a guy like Dylan DeMello. And the Maple Leafs weren't 100% enthused with Rasmus Sandin's play towards the end of the season before the stoppage happened. They were more so just playing him out of necessity, if I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, they healthy scratched him a couple of times. They took away his power play time. He was only playing like 10 or 11 minutes a night at times. So I don't know if it's safe to say that he's going to be just penciled into that lineup next season. I think he is, but this move allows you not to rush him, right? You never want to need to do something. You want to just want to do it. So anyway, in conclusion, for a guy that I never even knew existed before I woke up this morning at about 9 a.m., pretty enthused about the signing, pretty excited about it, it's a good signing. It's creating more depth. It's creating more competition on that left side, which is what we need. But Kyle, you got to go out there and you got to get us another defenseman to fill out the penalty kill and the right side. And decisions are going to have to be made with guys like Travis Dermott. So make sure to leave me a like on this video if you did like it. Subscribe for more, because more is always on the way. And guys, remember, the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to win the Stanley Cup next season. Yes, we are back on that bull.